Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Essence Janay. And as you guys can tell by the title, we are going to be recreating Jaclyn Hill's feminine eye look. I'm not going to keep this intro too long. It's just real short and to the point. If you guys want to see me recreate this look, definitely keep on watching. So we are going to start with our base makeup, and of course I'm going to start by priming the skin. Today's primers, I'm using the Tatcha Silk Canvas, and I'm also using the Smashbox Love Ritual Primer Water. And I'm going to first use the Tatcha first, since the primer water is nothing but a spray that you mist on your face. And I'm going to use this just to concentrate it right here in my T-zone. Because as I always say, I have lots of pores, you guys, in this area, and I just want to make sure that I'm filling them in and giving myself the best chance at having nice, smooth, flawless skin. So I'm just gonna rub this in. I did put quite a bit of this product on, but I'm just gonna rub it out, focus it in the T-zone area, and we'll be good to go. Right after that, I'm gonna mist my face with the primer water from Smashbox. I'm gonna make sure I drench my face pretty nicely. And I'm gonna let that kind of sink in and dry a little, because we really want it to penetrate the skin and really give it time to like soak in so that it can actually do what it's supposed to do. And then I'm gonna use my damp sponge and just start tapping this into the skin. This is kind of like the same thing I do when I'm just setting my face with setting spray. I just tap it in. That way it just helps the process of it sinking into the skin. Before we go in with our foundation, I want to use some of this liquid highlighter from Becca. This is an Opal. It's an old liquid highlight. It's been around for a long time, but I just want to take it on the high points of my cheekbones. I've never done this before. It's just something that I decided to try today when I was, taking the products out of my drawer. I was like, why not just try this out? So I have applied it where I want it, and then I'm gonna take my sponge again and just tap that into the skin. I want to see if this is gonna give me a glow underneath my foundation. We will see, only time will tell. Again, I have not done this before, but I really want to try it. Now for foundation, she used this Nars foundation in her video that she did. And because this is a favorite foundation of mine, I really do love Nars foundation. They have some of the best foundations in my opinion, as far as prestige brands go. So I'm going to be mixing Syracuse and Stromboli just to kind of get my custom shade, because as you guys know, I don't really have that right now. So I'm just going to do a custom mix of the two foundations together and then start applying that on my face with my infamous brush that I've been loving so much, which is the Morphe E63. For concealer, I'm going to use the Hourglass Vanish concealer, and this is in Fawn. And I'm going to place this obviously underneath my eyes and all the areas of my face that I highlight. I've said so many times whenever I pull out this concealer that this one is very brightening for me, and I definitely want a bright under eye today. I don't know what it is, but it's just what I am feeling. So that's why I'm using this concealer, because it's bright, but it's not like too bright, and I feel like it'll help balance out the custom shade that we made with the Nars. So for that, I am going to use my beauty sponge. And one thing that we are going to just skip over today is cream contour or bronzer, whichever one is kind of like your preference or how you see it. I'm just going to skip over that today just because, I want a glam look, but I don't want any cream bronzer today. I don't know, I'm just feeling like skipping over it, so we're definitely not going to be doing that. I'm just going to blend this in and set underneath. To set everything down, I'm going to use my translucent honey powder from Mercier. If you guys seen my previous video, I did use this powder once again after not using it for such a long time, and I thought it was so beautiful underneath the eyes. So I'm just gonna use this again underneath the eyes just to set all of this down, but also to set my T-zone area, because I think that the powder was really flawless and it just helped make everything look really smooth. Again, this is like a banana powder in my opinion, but it's not quite banana, and it just helps to brighten everything up. So I've gone ahead and primed my lids and also set them with a little bit of powder, just in case any of you guys care to know that. But they are set, and now we're going to jump into shadow. So of course she used her Volume 2 palette, which I do have. I also have her original palette, which she used for one shade and one shade only. So first we're going to start with the Volume 2 palette, and I'm going to grab Perfectionist, which is like this apricot shade right here. And I'm gonna focus this shadow in my crease, mostly the outer crease, and then slightly bringing a little bit of that color into the inner corner as well. And she just started with this shade, and I'm doing it the same way she did as far as like the technique, focusing most of it on the outer part of the crease, but still creating that definition in the crease completely with this shadow. So now I'm taking a fluffier brush. This is the M441. I love this brush for blending. I'm gonna still go into Perfectionist, and I'm just going to lightly use this shadow just to help blend what we already have put down on the lid, and just really help to blend out all of this that we placed. The other brush that I was using before was mostly used just to kind of put it where I wanted it to go, and it's not as fluffy and it doesn't really have a lot of blendability. So really that's more for like just packing the color on where I want it. And then I'm using this blending brush just to buff and blend everything out. Now I'm going to take Comfort Zone, which is this shadow right here, which was right next to Perfectionist. This is what we were using before. So this is the one we're going to use now, which is a little bit deeper in color. And I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with Perfectionist with Comfort Zone. But instead of focusing this solely in the crease area, I'm actually going to take it on the lower part of the lid as well, and just kind of go a little bit below the crease shadow with this shade. And I am using that same brush we were using to begin with to do this. So I'm going to start just by tapping it here on the outer corner and then slowly working it upwards. So just like the first shade, I'm dipping back in with that fluffy brush to the shadow, and then I'm just going to use this to again just help blend and buff everything out, and just make sure we just have a nice seamless blend going on and nothing is looking too harsh. Now I'm going to take Thick Skin, which is this shadow right here on the outer part of the palette, and I'm going to use a smaller, more defined brush. This one is from Morphe, but it does not have a number, and I'm just going to take a little bit of that color, tap off my brush of course, and then I'm going to tap this on the outer corner as well, just to add more dimension to this look. This shade is fairly similar to what we already have on the lid, but again, just a step darker. So a step up, step down, however you want to look at it. It's a little bit darker than the two shadows that we were using prior. So I'm just going to put this on the outer corner only. I'm not going to bring it up into the crease. I'm just going to keep it down here nice and low. So now I'm going to take Certified, which is this one right here. This is what I would consider to be like the highlight of the palette. You know, a nice inner corner pop, brow bone highlight, that sort of color. But I'm going to use this because that's what she used. And I'm using a small flat brush, and I'm going to tap it off still. And I'm going to start placing this on the inner part of my lid. Not all the way across, just right here in the inner part of it. Kind of like where my tear duct and all that is. Just so I can brighten up the inner part of the lid itself, but also give like an inner corner highlight as well. I'm not going to lie, before I first ever used this shade and looking at it in the palette, it was very intimidating because I thought it was going to be like really white, harsh, and just too bright for me, but honestly, you guys, this is the most prettiest, brightest, but in the most subtlest way type of shade I've ever used. And I really do like it. So that's about as far as I'm gonna bring this. So it should look a little something like that, which I think is so pretty. It just really helps to brighten and open up the lid space. And with this color, it just looks really, really good. So one thing I forgot to do was take Comfort Zone. And I'm gonna take that and smudge that on my lower lash line just to kind of connect everything. So she didn't want it to be a separation between the lower lash line and the top lash line. So what she did was make sure that she connected the shadow from top to bottom. So that's the same thing that I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna buff it underneath here, but I'm also gonna make sure I bring it all the way up to the top to connect everything all the way around. So as a final step, I'm gonna take this shade right here called Central Park, and this is from her original palette. So this is not the Volume 2 palette, this is the original. And I'm gonna use that to line the lash line just as she did. She did say you could use any dark brown shadow that you wanted for this, but since I have her first palette and her second palette, I mean, why not go in with the exact, you know, products and shadows that she used. So I'm gonna do my best to line my lash line really nicely, and I'm gonna finish it off with a little bit of mascara, some false lashes, and then we can finish off the rest of the base makeup. Now let's go ahead that the lashes are on. Let's finish up the rest of this face. We are almost done. So I'm gonna use my Nars matte bronzer. This one is in Laguna. And I'm just gonna use this to add color back into the skin, especially because we did not cream contour or anything like that. We're definitely looking very, very much so one-toned, and we really want to correct that and just add some warmth back into the skin. So for this, I like to use the brush and just go in big circular motions around my face. I do take it underneath my chin a little bit as well. Of course, I'm going to use the ABH bronzer in Saddle. And this time I'm taking it on a different brush just because the other one's a little dirty. And I'm just going to tap it here in the hollows of my cheeks. This is just going to help give a little bit more definition than what we have, because the bronzer is a little bit more warm toned as far as the Nars one, and then this one is a little bit more cooler, so I can use it for this step just to help kind of bring a contour to life, so to speak. And I'm just gonna do this lightly. I don't want to neglect my nose, so I'm gonna use the Hoola Benefit bronzer for that. I love this one. You guys know that this was probably the first bronzer I ever used to contour my nose. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and just run it down the sides of my nose. Nothing too precise or specific. I mean, I want it to look good, but I feel like with this bronzer, I don't even have to try too hard, and I could just use a little bit of it and it works just fine. For blush, I'm gonna use this one from e.l.f. This is Turks and Caicos, and this is actually a shade that I really do like, and I also feel like it ties into the eyeshadow as well. So I'm just gonna pop a little bit of this on my cheeks, and to do that, I am going to use this brush from MAC. I don't know the number because it's rubbed off, but I'm gonna swirl my brush into this product, tap it on the back of my hand, and then apply it to the high points of my cheeks all the way up to my temples. I feel like it's very rare that I use any type of powder blush these days. I've just been so obsessed with these e.l.f. cream blushes that it's really hard for me to put them down. But I really do think that this specific shade really ties all of this together, and it really just complements the eyes on a totally different level. So I'm stippling this on, but I am going to use my sponge just to tap on top of it, just to make sure everything is nice and blended into the skin, and that, you know, you want everything to look good. So you can never go wrong with blending. I don't think there's a thing called over blending unless you overblend to the point where you blend it away. But blending is definitely key when it comes to makeup, at least in my opinion. So for highlight, to finish off everything, I'm using this Urban Decay Afterglow palette, and I'm gonna take Side Piece and Bliss, which are these two right here, mix them together and create a custom highlight shade for me. I am just gonna pop on a gloss. This is the Maybelline, this is their lifter gloss, and this is in ice. Kind of has like a pinky undertone to it, but not too much of a pinky undertone. Honestly, it's more of like an actual clear gloss. The pink doesn't really come through like that. So just popping this on. Then obviously we need to set the face. So to finish everything off, a little bit of the ColourPop setting mist, just to make sure everything's locked into place and we can wear this for a couple of hours. Alright beauties, so this is everything finished and complete. This is the final look. Let me know your thoughts down below. I feel like I did her eyeshadow justice, but I will let you guys be the judge of that. So make sure you leave a comment and let me know how I did, especially if you've seen her video. If you haven't seen her video, I will do my best to link it down in the description down below. But if by chance it is not there, you can just go to her channel and it should be up there in the most like recent videos that she has put out. But overall, I really love the makeup look in general, but mostly the eyes, because that is technically what the focus of today's video was, recreating her eye look. And I think I did pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. Now, it was very refreshing to be able to pull out her palette yet again and use it to create yet another eyeshadow look. And I am obsessed with the tones that we used today, especially that inner corner color. That right there is so pretty, and I can't even say for certain if I've used it before, but if I haven't, I can tell you guys, using it today, it just really blew me away, because when you see such white shades or stark white shades in the palette, or any palette, not just this one in specific, but you tend to get intimidated because you think it's going to be super bright or just way too chalky or way too white. And I feel like this is just so creamy and buttery, but it's more of like a muted white, and you can use it on your lids as I did without it being too intense or overpowering, and I really like that. It would also have been really pretty to put it on the brow bone, which I honestly forgot to do, but I still feel like the overall look is beautiful. I'm definitely here for it. If you guys want to see me recreate more influencers or makeup artist looks, definitely let me know in the comments. I want to start like a mini series here on my channel where I recreate looks from time to time. I definitely feel like it will not only be interesting for you guys and good content for you, but it'll also be good practice for me, because I'm pretty basic when it comes to eyeshadow looks. So we did start with something very simple, very basic, but we can work our way up, you know? Overall, I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. Of course, make sure you subscribe before you leave if you did enjoy it. Also, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click the bell so you can be notified whenever I upload. I upload every Wednesday and Friday here on YouTube. At least I try to. I do my very best. And on Instagram is more day-to-day content, so you guys can also follow me on there. With all of that being said, I am going to close out today's video here. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.